Hey everyone, hope you're doing well today. Got another video for you. Gonna give another big hint in the spirit of the holidays. So, the perception of self-awareness, the topic of today's video. One of the examples that I often give in my yoga classes are the differences in the perception of self-awareness between organisms like a tree or a bumblebee, right? From the perspective of the bumblebee, the tree lives in slow motion. And from the perspective of the tree, the bumblebee is barely visible. It moves so fast. In some of the previous videos that I've released, we're going over kind of this dynamic in the self-perception of our conscious awareness. And due to the accelerated dilation of time, due to the gravitational effects currently being experienced by our people at this time, the perception of our awareness really has a lot to do with the level of happiness and joy that we're experiencing cumulatively. And so people, because of our finite lifespan, we've gone over this in another video, we perceive ourselves in a certain way. And because of that, we're not really privy to kind of the overarching themes of humanity, especially during this last human epoch taking place since, quote unquote, the last ice age, when we were supposedly cavemen and women, which is not really true, as I've proven in my white papers available at savananda.org about the true origin of humanity and the true timeline of our existence here on this planet. So, because of our finite lifespan and our limited perception of our conscious awareness, we don't really see kind of the overall themes being experienced by humans. And of course, that gets us into a lot of trouble. We're on the brink of World War III, supposedly. And we've been here many times before. And all the while, people think, it's just a part of human history, but that's not so. We've all known that various types of economic downturns and depressions, recessions, even famines, and even epidemics throughout the ages have all been a contrived means to acclimatize the human population through the hereditary nature of epigenetics. We went over this in my white papers before as well. And today it's no different. If we look back at human history real quick, World War I, people were rushing at each other in the trenches, being mowed down by machine guns. And we kind of look back and be like, wow, why were they doing that, right? Well, the army and different militaries around the world throughout history, the last, several thousand years, have always given their armies stimulants, different types of drugs like caffeine, coffee, alcohol, cigarettes. And these stimulants kind of erase the sense of biological preservation inherent in all DNA-based life forms. And so we see the men rushing towards their certain deaths after being ordered simply to do so. They don't seem to have any self-awareness. And that's essentially what we're seeing to this very day. All these people supposedly are fighting against capitalism and corporations, and yet they're very supportive of Big Pharma, and they think they're being helped by the corporations and Big Pharma and these different companies and governments. And it's primarily because of their it's a similar situation that's occurring in their mind because of the regular drugs and alcohol, including caffeine. It kind of erodes our perceptions of our biological preservation tendencies. And, when we're looking at our friends and family who continue to make the same choices, right? Trusting the corporations, trusting big pharma in a kind of appeal to ignorance. This is what's occurring. And so it's helpful to bring our awareness level up to this kind of idea so that we can become aware of it and then take steps to alter the nature of our decision making. And so, okay, let's go back to the human history. So after World War II, we had World War I, we had World War II, which was kind of very similar to World War I. And then if we look at what's happening today, again, we have the kind of the same actors. You have Asia and Russia, the Western powers. And there's always like an element of this rogue state, like North Korea. In the past, there have been many different ones like Italy and stuff. And so it's pretty much the same kind of situation that we see being played over and over again. And for the purposes of the conglomeration of power and resources. And just like in the book 1984, you have these three big powers who are constantly pit against each other in a contrived kind of scenario to deplete resources and personnel and to keep the machine rolling, right? So not one country or superpower ever gets so powerful that they can't be destroyed by one of the other powers. And this is like a very simple representation of what we're experiencing at this time. And because of our finite human existence and the limited nature of our perceptions, we don't really notice what's happening. We watch the TV and we're like, oh, okay, we're in another World War III, or we're in another famine, or we're in another recession or depression, but it's not necessarily true. These are all well documented to have been created, manufactured, maintained by the same people we're often talking about, people who own Hollywood, the people who own different governments around the world. And just bringing awareness to this level of our human existence really helps alter the nature of our decision making in a positive way, because a lot of people might not know that this stuff is all related, but it is related. And once we can disengage, like I've talked about at length in the past, once we can disengage from the media, the television, universities, what they're trying to tell us, and exercise a level of discernment, we can become more of a comprehensive actor instead of just a follower in the nature of our decision making. Primarily, not going to the grocery store, not buying plastic, using our money to give to a real person at the farmer's market or a local crafter, not supporting Walmart or Monsanto or Bayer, who manufactures the injections. And once we all start doing that in more of a alliance of individuals, then we don't really have to fight anything. We don't really have to do anything. Just changing the nature of our decision making, where our money goes to, we will ultimately be victorious because of how everything is structured. So they on TV they say, oh, vote, you got to vote or die. But really, the real voting takes place with our dollars on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. Who and what are we giving our money to, right? That's what determines the future. That's what determines our experience and the experience of our children in the future. It's not what they say on the television. The television is not real, or it's not true in the way that it's being presented to us. So yeah, I hope everybody's doing well out there. A little gift to humanity for the spirit of the holidays. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one.